Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're hopping back into the transition between step 2 and step 3. So last we left off, we were about to go on a walk. So without further ado, let's hop into this. Ooh, thank you. Um, Sounds great. One last trip for the day. The two of you walked down the street again, just wandering without a destination plan. It was quiet stroll, too quiet for Derek being the company. You turned to him when you had noticed he wasn't saying a word. That was unusual. Derek always had something he could chat about. You weren't sure if you should ask about it. Somehow you ended up at the old park near the beach. You glanced over to Derek once more, still expecting him to say something any second now. However, nothing came from him. In fact, now you noticed a frown creeping on his face. Derek smiled when he realized you were watching. At least his mouth was turned up. There wasn't anything really felt happy in that expression. He turned away and the smile fell off his face. His eyes stared intently at the ground as you raised an eyebrow. Is everything okay? You want to talk to me about something out here? Derek, what's going on? You go quiet. Let's ask him. I'm a little sad. It's just with school starting back up again, it's going to be hard to visit. I'm going to have homework and clubs and practice and everything else.
This sucks.
It really sucks we go to different schools. His face screwed up and his fists were closed tightly together. This was really concerning him. What if we don't have time? You channeled some monster mission, you shared your worries. Optimism. I'm a glass half full kind of guy. We'll make time. We can talk to each other over the phone and have plans for weekends. It'll be okay. Derek looked up at the sky. It was orange and purple with little wisps of clouds scattered around. A plane flew high and jet stream trailing behind it. Then he turned to the ground again. Derek's face was tilted far enough down that it was hard to read his expression. Harry, I actually wanted to talk to you about something if you don't mind. There was a pause, and you waited for him to finish the thought.
Sorry.
I was just kind of wondering, do you like guys at all? Like, would you ever want to be with someone who's a boy? Sorry, it's weird to ask. I could be with a guy. I don't want to be with a guy? Maybe, I don't know. You didn't answer him. I kind of don't want to talk about that. I could be with a guy. Okay, then. He hesitated before finishing his question.
So,
What I mean is, is there any guy you think is kind of cool that you like around here, not school or anything like that? He ducked his head further. You thought about it. I like you. Well, I like Cove. Mr. Holden. There's a lot of guys I like, not right now. I don't really want to say. Like you. Derek's eyes widened for a moment. You wondered if his heart had stopped because he stood there completely frozen, then quietly, almost breathlessly asked a question.
really?
Really? Maybe you don't really get what I'm asking about. He mumbled to himself for a while. So Derek pulled himself together somewhat meekly. He looked at you while he tried to project confidence. His posture was too tight for you to believe it. He was nervous.
All right.
You know, thinking ahead and everything is important. You've got to get yourself a game plan and all. That's good. Make plans, especially backup plans. He babbled full of energy and focused gusto. Well, anyways, I heard about things where people make pacts with their good friends. If they don't find anyone, then they get together. Together, like they get married and stuff. So I was thinking, since it's good to have plans, I might be cool if we did something like that. His eyes widened and he started to make frantic hand gestures. Just, then we'd never have to worry about the future or finding someone. We can set like a whole decade in the future, forever from now. We'd have graduated high school and probably college too. We'll have jobs and be really grown up. I mean, we probably have our own places, maybe our own pets and student loans and cars. Eric babbled on for a while more. It was if all the world he held in silence during your walk had burst out all at once. So yeah, what do you think? That's a good idea. I think having a backup sounds smart. Derek, I do know what you're talking about. I like you. I'll think about it. I don't think that would work. I'm sorry, Derek. Do you like me? Derek, I fucking like you. Why won't you listen to me? He paused, desperate to find a way to explain himself. Well, that's a big decision. You don't have to think about that kind of thing right now. It's better to worry about all that later when you're grown up. That's why it's a good idea to have a plan, I like you too, a lot, and honestly, we would work out the best for that. So, that's a good idea. Having a backup sounds smart. It's a deal. I'll think about it. I don't think that would work. I'm sorry, Derek. It's a deal.
Really?
Really awesome. Derek's brightened significantly and started to bounce excitedly on the balls of his feet.
Okay.
Okay, let's do it. Would you look at that? Look at his high death. He held out his hand, offering a shake, officially repeated the terms of the deal. If in 10 years I, Derek Schwartz, am still single, and if in 10 years you, Ari Payne, are still single, we both agree the two of us will get together. You shook his hand. You kissed him on the cheek. I go for it. You passed his outstretched arm and placed a slight kiss against his mouth and smiled. When you parted, Derek gasped and slapped his hand against his cheeks. Oh, that works too.
It's a deal.
All right, thanks. I feel better about the future already.
It's a deal.
Thanks, I feel better about the future already. We made this man blush so hard. We were like, nah, forget your hand. Forget your politeness. I have goals, and you're not going to get in my way. And we just kissed him. I love that. And man just like, oh, that works. He laughed and scratched the back of his head. You could tell he was giddy about this, and you felt happy too. I'm glad too. Glad to hear. It's finance, sort of. You know, life's gonna be smooth sailing now. I respect your commitment to reparation. Life's gonna be smooth sailing. Well, hopefully. You didn't spend much longer at the park after that. Derek didn't want to miss his dad, so you both made your way back to your street. Derek stepped forward, seeming lighter than before. After Derek went back home, you decided to settle in for the night. Stretching your arms over your head, you noticed that living room and the phone were free. You took it easy. We're gonna call Lee. You picked up the receiver and quickly punched in the familiar number while going to take a seat on the couch. Soon enough, after explaining the situation to the housekeeper, Lee answered.
Hey!
Hey! Hi, Lee. Can you talk? Definitely. We practically have to. My gosh. Can you believe it's almost time for school to start? That's what happened to our summer. School starts first thing tomorrow for me.
Boo!
Ew, and I thought starting next week was bad enough. Enjoy your last week. Oh, I will. I hope you survive your first day. Me too. I need a good year. Ditto. And at least summer was nice while it lasted, right? We were busy. Yeah. Fondly, you thought about all the best memories you made this summer. Lee was there for some, but there's still many you hadn't filled her in on yet. You reminisced about a moment of your summer. You began to speak about Miranda, soiree, Conte Glove. One day, with a big shopping trip in the morning, you had to go to the library. The time you went to Chloe's house, Chloe's mom took you for a wild ride and kind of a hot afternoon. You babysat George and Nicholas. The afternoon you spent together with Derek and Cove. Surprise Father's Day adventure when you got to go boardwalk. My family and Derek's family took a big trip to the boardwalk and amusement park in the summer, and my mom's Elizabeth, Derek, and mom, all and his two brothers. I know the place you mean. How'd it go? It was super fun, even though there was a problem. I got to have my face painted. It was tiring. It was nice. Derek really took care of anything. Nicholas fell asleep, and people had to carry him around today. I read the Ferris wheel with Derek and Nicholas. Derek. Derek's pretty cool, huh? Yeah, it's great. A lot went wrong, but he handled it all. He was in charge, even though Elizabeth was there, and she's older and bossy. Ooh, that's amazing. A little bit more about our summer. You spent together with Derek and Cove. Cove hot afternoon, bombs off. Simon Cove's desk. Go to the library one day with a shopping trip in the morning. Soiree at the country club. Father's Day adventure. Derek invited me over suddenly, and it turned out the next day was Father's Day. Oh, really? And then what? For starters, Derek didn't tell me what was going on. Since the whole night over at Derek's apartment, we camped out in the living room. Me and Derek had to rush back to my house. We sat. Baby Castle was almost invaded by grown-ups. Derek cares a lot about me. I kind of thought so. That's super cool. And let's move on to talk about her. What's your big highlight of the summer, Lee? Talking to you was the best part of my summer. Even though it was a phone call, you just knew that Lee was winking at you. You laughed. You shook your head. Come on, tell me. What? You don't believe me? Lee. All right, okay. So high point for me was when I took a trip with my parents to Europe. That was amazing. You and Lee continued to go over your adventures until you both yawning at each other over the phone. At that, you decided it was time to say goodbyes for now. You did have school to wake up for in the morning. Bye, Lee.
Bye!
Night, Ari. Talk to you later. You left the phone on the side table for now. Looking at the clock on the wall, you saw there was only about 10 minutes until your moms would be insisting you had to go to bed so you could be rested enough for school. You stretched out your legs on the couch and sighed in defeat, watching the minute hand change 1 minute closer to bedtime. You arranged yourself, feeling restless, and looked out the window. Stared at initially, you spotted a figure on the hill. It was Cove. When the surprise faded, you realized it really wasn't that much of a shock at all. It was exactly something Cove would do. We're gonna go talk to him. He shrugged casually, so you went over to the front door. You arrived and you noticed how many fireflies were out that night. They drifted along lazily, barely minding your presence as you wandered through, reaching the top of the hill. Cove turned towards you as you approached and noticed right away that Cove looked happy to see you. Hey! You had a bounce in your step and you weren't sure how long you'd get before your moms roped you back inside for bed. Hey, you're staring strong. Hey, you're starting strong. Out late on the very first night of school year? Chuckling, Cove crossed his arms. Seriously, what are you doing here?
Nothing.
Nothing, not really. He shrugged, seeming unhappy with his own answer. You stared at him, waiting for him to continue. Well, I guess I was feeling kind of weird about stuff, so I'm getting some fresh air before bed. You should go to sleep. I know how you feel. You feel good. You feel better. You shrugged back. You nodded. I know how you feel. It's hard to stay still. Tomorrow is going to be the start of a new year. In the midst of school, a small noise escaped him. Cove let himself fall back on his butt and then all the way down. He was laying on his back and looked up at the sky. We'll lay down too. You lowered yourself to lay back on the hill. He had been lost in thoughts or possibly waiting for you to situate yourself, but he started speaking unprompted again. I'm sorry for being kind of awkward when my mom was leaving. Surprised, you stared at him a moment. You weren't expecting that. I just wanted you to know that I talked to my dad about how I felt and things are okay now. You were genuinely glad to hear, and it brought a small smile to your face. But your thoughts quickly wandered back to the first day you met Mr. Holden. Did his dad confess about that? From the way Cove talked, you guess he hadn't. So there was more Cove and his dad to talk about, but it was a relief to know that they had made a start. Now was not a good time to bring up what you were thinking, though you could wait longer to say. It was almost unbelievable how much of an impact he made on your life just by moving next door. You couldn't even imagine what your days might have looked like in the world where you hadn't met him. Cove glanced back at you, waiting for a response, and you had no idea what to say. Then, still without a word from you, Cove gave an exaggerated shrug. What? It's you. Huh? You snickered before answering. He looked through in amusement with your reaction. That's what you do all the time. I'm being you. You do that all the time, too. So do you, Cove. You were stunned. He noticed things like that. I don't do it that much. Not being able to argue with his assessment, you accepted it. He felt bashful about his joke. So do you, Cove. Really? Yes, always. Cove couldn't help but grin at that. Honestly, there weren't many people you could think who could tease about something like that. Returning his smile, you realized there's no denying that you two have been around each other for a long time. Cove broke the quiet before he could settle.
Tomorrow.
Hey, I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, see you then. With a final wave, Cove headed for home. You stayed there a few minutes longer. Your mind kept going back to the simple statement, see you tomorrow. No matter how many changes around here, there would be some things in your life that always seem to remain true. This hill felt warm to you that night. Before you knew it, you were getting comfortable under the covers in your room. Your mind couldn't help but still buzz with the thought about the future. You felt excited. There was little doubt in your mind that things were moving forward, and you couldn't wait to find out what changes were waiting for you on the horizon. Slowly, your eyes grew heavy as you drifted off to sleep, your mind spinning wistful doubts. No matter what happened next, you could only hope that you would make the most of it. The in-between. Alright, since we are a teenager now, we're gonna figure out what I'm doing with my hair first. Like that. Red, red, Uh-huh. Yep. Change page. We got the scars, rosy cheeks, freckles, acne, slender rectangle glasses, earrings, 8, then lips. We'll look at the next one. Birthmarks, scars, freckles, pants, shirt, necklace, hat, watches, braces. I'm gonna say that. No ring. No headscarf. Nail like short. No color. Green. Nose ring. We do that. Alright, I'd say done. Direct. We're indifferent, okay? Like, he's our neighbor, and we're friendly. But we're not just like, let's go. Yes. Neither. We'll let him look however he's gonna look. The start of classes ended the relaxed free days of summer. It didn't take long for you to get back into the swing of school year routine. Schedules and homework became the new normal. Derek wasn't around nearly as much, to his great dismay. With school itself and after school activities, there weren't many opportunities for him to take the trip out to your neighborhood, especially because he was always at some training camp or a new regime with strict schedule. The two of you were usually stuck with merely telling each other about what was happening in your lives instead of sharing your days in the same place, but was always good at anticipating things and being prepared for them. Derek knew he wouldn't be able to be with you that much going forward. That was probably the reason he pushed any notion of the two of you liking each other only as a concept for way in the future when you were adults and had taxes. Or at least one of the reasons he never fully accepted it, you were sure. You still kept in touch over the phone as best you could. Kind of lost contact as time went on. No. Jeremy Kid disappeared after that summer, and no one ever heard from him again. Where he went or what might be up to was a mystery. You saw more Miranda around since you had hung out with her on her birthday. She had opened up to you. The two of you talked regularly, and she was the same towards Cove. After a while, she developed a real friendship with the both you and Cove. More summers came and went, the waves on the shore coming in and out. In your second year of high school, someone new started visiting Sunset Bird, a sunny girl named Terry Brooke. She was a friend of Cove, made due to them both being ocean-obsessed. With how often you ended up interacting with her and how openly sociable she was, Terry became part of your friend circle as well. Funnily enough, Terry was also extremely tight with Miranda, who she had known for even longer than Cove. The four of you were able to create a small friend circle. As for your home life, the Paynes also had developments. Changing laws and public perception countrywide made it possible for your moms to openly wear their wedding rings without questions. Though they had wedding years ago, it was only recently that the union was officially recognized elsewhere in the U.S. That was a good day, to say the least. Elizabeth came into her own and stopped being quite as irritable. She no longer worried about perceived as childish as she grew up for real. She didn't even mind being called Lizzie again. Although most people use Liz, she eventually graduated high school and moved out to attend college in another state. It was a lot for you to adjust to your older sister being gone. This never let you forget her role in your life, though, and kept in touch. Cove's relationship with his family improved over the years. Kira visited several times after that summer, and things became easier between the two. He was also closer with his dad than ever before. You knew they talked more, and that helped prevent a lot of friction before it could start. Cove had become much more outgoing than when you had first met him. He was so bright, he shone. He would willingly join conversation, make jokes, and put in effort not to use overly blunt phrasing. Cove had shifted from preferring athletics to becoming more seriously studious as his schooling went on. Between the two of you, things were the same as they had always been. You and Cove were simply people who lived next door to each other. You interacted as needed or convenient, no more, no less. At least both of your parents had finally given up on trying to make you friends, so that was a positive development. It was strange to look back on it all. The future faded into your present, and then it simply the past. Even the most fundamental parts of your life can last forever. You felt the most pointedly the day you inevitably graduated high school. It was over and you would not be going back ever again. From now on, what came next was your choice. You would be directing your own life. That was where you were currently, the summer after school had ended, the first summer of true freedom. What used to be reprieve from the typical was now going to be your first step into adulthood. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, remember to hit like and subscribe. That way you can see where this is going, because if you made it this far, why wouldn't you want to see the rest of it? Anyway, I hope you have a good day, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.